Welcome to Magical Memories Unlocked, your guide to events that truly rock. From tips on planning and entertainment to will help you make your dream event come true. Now, without delay, let's dive into your guide to event success today.
All right, welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another Magical Memories Unlocked, your guide to event success. Today we have Andrew with us, the astonishing Andrew to be exact. And Andrew here is, I've known him a very long time. He is a magician that is absolutely amazing. He's not just your normal, like, birthday party magician, which is nothing wrong with that because that's what I do. But he is actually really, really great with mentalism. That's his like main thing. That's what he loves to do. But I'm doing way too much introduction right now. Andrew, would you like to tell everybody who you are, what you do, and we can go from there?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Andrew. I've been performing magic since I was a teenager. That was my part-time job. And when I was in high school, I worked for one of my friend's fathers had a party company, and he would hire me out as his magician. And then in college, I sort of fell away from it. But then after I graduated college, I started performing again. So I've been I've been doing this part-time for the last 20 years. My day job is that I'm a school teacher. So
Mm.
I teach elementary school. I'm a science teacher, kindergarten through eighth grade. And on the weekends and during summer vacation, you'll find me at local libraries and weddings and kids' birthday parties and teaching magic classes up here in Rockland County.
Very nice. That's amazing. And so, I mean, you spoke about how you're a teacher as well as a magician. How do
Yeah.
those skills translate to one another?
Uh, that's a really good question. Um, audi Audience management, right?
Hmm.
So the hardest part about being a magician or a school teacher is just being alone in a room full of 30 kids who and trying to keep their attention on you.
Hmm.
So, doing that all day long, it's harder when I'm trying to teach them science than when I'm trying to show them a magic trick.
I can understand that. That's for sure. I mean, they're kind of similar in some sense, right? Magic is
There's a
involved
lot
with
of
science.
overlap.
There's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
there's a
overlap.
lot of overlap.
I spoke a little bit about it in the beginning of our intro. Your specific interest in the magic field. Can you kind of talk and tell everybody what mentalism is and
Oh,
kind of how it's
sure.
different than magic in general?
Sure. So I perform at a lot of kids' birthday parties, but I also perform at a lot of adult venues. I do a lot of
Hmm.
teenagers, and I've done a lot of bar mitzvahs and a lot of walk around mentalism.
Hmm.
And mentalism is magic of the mind, right?
Hmm.
So it's still magic. Some mentalists will say that, oh, it's very different from magic. But I like to think that, it's like there's card magic, there's coin magic, and then there's mentalism.
Hmm.
And that's when, I'm in a room with someone and I read their mind and read their thoughts and make predictions and things like that.
Hmm.
One of the reasons that I really like it is that it feels really magical.
Hmm.
If I'm doing card magic or coin magic, there's always something else involved.
Hmm.
But when I'm doing mentalism, it's just me, another person,
Hmm.
and their thoughts. And we go from there.
It sounds very mysterious. How did you get? I mean, I'm sure you didn't start off in mentalism. It's usually
No,
not the first thing people jump into. How did you transition from learning magic in general to getting into mentalism?
that's a great question. So started doing a lot of the standard stuff, card magic, coin magic, cups and balls.
Hmm.
And, slowly I learned one or two mentalism tricks to add to my show, and they were
Hmm.
getting really great reactions.
Hmm.
And then the more I studied up on it, the more elegant it seemed. I don't know if that's the right
Hmm.
word for it, but like I was saying, I really like the idea of just being somewhere and being able to pick up like a blank piece of paper and make someone believe that I read their mind. So
Hmm.
as I started adding more and more tricks to my show, more and more of them started to become mentalism tricks
Hmm.
until eventually I'm like, I'm just going to be a mentalist. But I, I still in my show. I mean, a lot of mentalism, 'cause a lot of other mentalists would disagree with this and try to distance themselves away from magic.
Mm,
Um, but I like because they don't. A lot of mentalists don't want to be seen as it just being a trick,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Um, but I don't. I love magic. It's not
mhm,
a dirty word to me. You know. Um, and as a science teacher, I don't want people to think that I'm really reading their minds. I sort of feel a
um,
responsibility there. Um, I have had people after shows ask me very seriously if I could talk to dead relatives.
oh no.
Yeah, it's a little disconcerting when that happens, and I try to tell them that it's just a trick, but
Mhm,
they people who want to believe.
mm,
But I always like to include one or two, show-stopping like actual magical effects, even in my
mhm.
mentalist shows.
Hmm, that's really cool. That's awesome. I was gonna ask you, I mean, how do you manage when somebody does like truly believe? Do you like discourage that or do you play into that? Even like little kids, I'm sure you have it's a
Yeah,
different mentality at that point.
yeah. My at first I like to. It depends on the person.
Mm,
If the person is sort of like, so are you really reading my mind? If they're like questioning, I might leave them with like oh well, it's mysterious. It's nothing that I can it's nothing special about me. It's a skill that anyone can learn, but I don't really go into
mm,
like saying this is just tricks, right?
mm, mhm,
With that one person in particular, I felt the need to be a little bit more blunt with her because, she felt like the type of person who was gonna give a lot of money to a roadside psychic any
mhm,
day now. So
mhm.
with her, I was just like, ma'am, I'm still a magician. It's just I'm using blank pieces of paper instead of playing cards.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I felt a little bit more of a responsibility with her than somebody who was just like passively asking.
That makes sense. That's good. I mean, it's a level of um ethics, I guess is the right word for it.
Yeah, and
You
and you know
know.
what? Amongst mentalists and magicians, that's always a question,
Mm,
especially amongst mentalists. Like there's a big I know Monday Night Magic for a long time used to make any mentalists who perform give a disclaimer that they
hmm.
weren't actually reading their minds.
Oh, really?
And yeah, but then there's the other side where there are mentalists out there who feel, I'm an actor. It's not Robert Downey Jr.'s responsibility to tell you that he's not Iron Man.
Hmm,
You
hmm.
know,
That makes sense.
and I see it both ways, but I feel like there are enough people getting conned out of money that I don't want to think that I had anything to do with that, even if I wasn't the one taking the dime.
That's good. You know what? And like I said, that's a really great way to look at it and approach it. I think that's like I said, very ethical, very, that's good.
During the show, I don't like to break character, right? So
Sure.
during the
Sure.
show, I'm not going to stop the show to say this is just a magic trick. But
Hmm.
if people are approaching me afterwards with questions, that's when I'm going to push back a little bit.
That's good. That's a good way to approach it. I mean, speaking of this now, we're talking about mentalism and magic and kind of the and what that is per se. But I feel like a new trend that's come around lately is more of the want for a mentalist, and like I really want a
Mhm.
mentalist, and I think people don't quite understand what that experience is like. We kind of talked fundamentally what you're doing, but what is the difference between a mentalism show and a magic
Sure.
show?
Great. Mentalist shows generally have a lot more audience participation
Mm-hmm.
because in a mentalist show, the magic is not happening on the stage. The magic is happening in people's minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot more passing out pieces of paper, having people write things down so that we can have receipts for what your thought is, because nothing's worse than reading somebody's mind and then,
Them
having the
changing
wise
it.
guy in the back saying, no, no, that wasn't what I was thinking of. I'm
I
like, yeah, I
gotcha.
know. So generally we'll have them write down words on piece of paper. That way we have proof that that's what they actually did.
That makes
Um,
sense.
there's a lot of um, interaction in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel like if I've done my job right, it won't feel like one person had their mind read. It'll feel
Hmm.
like everyone in the audience has experienced some sort of
Hmm.
mentalism.
Hmm. Interesting. That is really interesting. I'm thinking about an effect that you do where you can kind of have that group experience. Can you kind of give an example of one trick where maybe everybody sees something and somehow miraculously it changes to something else? And I think you know what I'm talking about.
Sure. Oh, yeah, I do.
I mean, you can give another example, but that's just what I'm thinking about in
Nope,
particular.
that's a good trick. So, yeah, I do one trick where see, but
Uh,
if I tell that trick on the podcast,
that's
then they're
fine
gonna
then.
know what's if you, they're gonna know
All
what to
right,
expect.
then don't tell it. Another example is fine.
That trick is no
One
fun if
thing,
people know what's gonna happen.
one thing happens with the other. That's all. Okay, that's the end of it. So
So
it's a group experience.
it's a group experience. There's everyone in the audience, and everybody thinks that they see one thing,
Hmm.
and then at the end they look at it again, and it's turned into something completely different that they didn't even realize that it changed.
Gotcha.
So whereas a magician might be like, "Hey, ta-da, the thing's changing, poof."
There.
This it's it's hypnosis. You never saw it to begin with.
Yeah.
It's that
I
sort of
think
experience.
your off the cuff comment right there really is the differentiator between a mentalism show and a magic show. It's a poof, things change or things happen in a magical way, and this is more of a observational experience where you have to be realize it's happening and pay attention, things like that.
Yeah, which is why mentalism for I don't do my mentalist show for kids under like 13 or 14.
That was gonna be my next question for you. Is mentalism for kids? I mean, that like I said, it's a
It's
trend
definitely
now.
it's definitely for teenagers,
Okay.
right? So I've done some great mentalist shows that took place at bar mitzvahs
Hmm.
and or confirmations,
Hmm.
quinceaneros, those sort of things.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the kids are blown away, and the adults are blown away. One of the things that I love about mentalism is that the teenagers, it's sort of they're still young enough where they don't know what's possible and what's impossible.
Hmm.
So it feels a lot realer to them.
Hmm.
Um, and the adults are just as engaged in those situations.
Hmm. Interesting. So
Whereas,
go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how do you manage the idea that like I'm sure every parent that's listening in here, anybody
Mhm.
that's worked with that age group has dealt with the situation where, the teens know better than everybody. And oh, I mean, all kids performers have dealt with this too, but I know how you did that statement even seems truer when it comes to that age group. And when it comes to this kind of thing, how do you manage that? How do you deal with that?
That's a great question. So, two things. One, it's a lot about the attitude that the performer brings in, I believe, right?
Mm,
So, if the performer brings an attitude of, I'm smarter than you,
mm,
then kids and adults are naturally going to want to push back and challenge that. And
mm,
I never want to bring that sort of attitude. I never want to bring that energy to a show. I'm not here to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm here to show you something incredible, right?
okay.
Now that usually takes care of 95% of the problems.
That's
With
good.
teenagers, maybe that takes care of 80% of the problems. But there's always going to be some pushback from people otherwise.
Mhm.
And generally with teenagers, if I got that one wise guy who's like, oh, I saw how you did that. I know how you did that.
Mhm.
The nice thing about teenagers is double-edged sword is how susceptible they are to peer pressure.
Mm.
So when they'll be calling me out for something,
Mhm.
even if it even if it really is how I did it, I'll turn to one of their friends who's really enjoying the show,
Mm.
and I'll make like, oh yeah, sure, and I'll just like point to that guy over there. It's like, yeah, yeah, sure, that's how I did it, absolutely, yeah, yeah, sure, you can believe that, and that no, no, that's right, you're totally sure right. And generally that'll get like a little chuckle from some of the kids, and then
Mhm.
that'll
Then
get
they'll
them
shut up.
quiet. Yeah. With adults, that doesn't work.
Okay.
Because when you're performing for adults, they're old enough that if they want to be a jerk, it's peer
Mm.
pressure and social uh, contracts, they've learned to ignore those already.
Especially when it comes
Um,
to a magician.
yeah, yeah. So then it's really just a matter of judging how much alcohol they've had to drink.
Okay. Uh,
Um, and just a typical, you got a couple of little lines that you
hmm
can use to deal with hecklers, but
hmm
I never want to be in, even with a heckler, I never want to be in a position where I'm putting them down.
mm
Because I feel like that gets the rest of the audience. I don't want the rest of the audience to be on the heckler's side,
hmm hmm
right? So if I'm in a position where I have some zinger and I'm going to put him in his place,
hmm
I don't again, I don't want that energy for the performance, right?
I think that's really the crux of it is that you also don't want to put that energy into the event. You know, you're there for a
Right,
purpose. So I think that's
right.
at least that's the way I've always kind of seen you the way you deliver. It's
Thank
not
you.
even about the person and you deserve it and I know better and you know that kind of
Yeah,
thing. But you don't want to deliver that kind of experience. So I
right.
love that.
Eugene Berger has had a great line that he used with hecklers that I've made good use for.
hmm
Good use. I've made,
Use
yeah.
of.
Thank you. I make good use of if somebody shouts out, "Oh, I know how you did that." I'll turn to him in like stage whisper so everybody can hear me. I'm like,
Ugh.
"Don't tell them now. Sell it to them after I leave."
That's good. I like that. That's funny.
You
And
know?
all of our working professionals out there, no, that's true.
Yeah. Don't tell them now. Sell it to them after I leave. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, so we kind of discussed the mentalism aspect of it. Now, how do you operate in in the children's birthday party or
Ah,
kids show performance wise?
why I'm glad you asked. So I love doing mentalism. It's a passion of mine. I love reading about it and everything. But performing in front of kids is my day job, right? So I'm very comfortable on stage with kids. I'm very comfortable playing with them and hanging out. So I'll hear other magicians talk about, oh my God, I never want to perform for 7 or 9 year olds. I'm like that.
hmm
That's all I do every day. Um, but I don't want to be condescending.
hmm
Something I always tell my clients is I'm not a clown.
hmm
The kids are going to have fun with me. They're going to be laughing, but I'm not a clown.
hmm
I'm a magician and I'm
hmm
coming to show magic.
hmm
So the type of magic that I want to perform, I'll present it in a way that kids find entertaining.
hmm
But I'm trying to make sure that even the adults in the audience are
hmm
gonna leave amazed. I don't want the magic to only play for the little kids.
hmm
I'll have a couple of tricks depending on the age where for adults it's very obvious how it works. But
hmm
most of my show, I like to think of being a family show where the
Okay.
kids are laughing and having a good time and they're amazed and the adults are also amazed. It's like in my kid show I do a linking ring routine.
hmm
And I always love when I do the linking ring routine because usually I'll get a couple of parents in the back who hold on a second, and that's when they like sort of move up to get a closer look. And when
hmm
that happens, I know I got them.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I do a lot of tricks that also, especially birthday party events.
hmm
So I'll do a lot of tricks where I get the birthday child's parent up on stage with them. So I like to interact with the adults who are watching and not ignore them.
That's good. So I mean that's interesting because I was gonna ask you. I mean, what is you mentioned it's a family show. Is kind of how you presented it. What is a family show versus a kids show in
Yeah,
its kind of functionality, I guess.
great. So I think of a kids show as magic that the kids find entertaining,
hmm
and the adults are maybe they're checked out, maybe they're
hmm
just entertained by how the kids are
hmm
reacting. Whereas I think of a family show as I'm presenting magic that everyone is going to find amazing, no matter
mm
how old you are, but it's presented in a way that the kids are going to find humorous and funny. And I'm using a more child sense of humor.
That's that's my sense of humor, so I get it.
Some of
I
us never grew up.
yeah, and say entertainment for this is all I've been doing for 20 years. So, you
That's
know.
right.
Go ahead. You were gonna say
And
something.
I always tell my students I liked school so much that I decided never to leave.
That's a good line. I like that one
Uh,
a lot. That's a really good one. So you brought up something that I thought was important to discuss is the wait a minute. I lost it already. Where was it? I was trying to get it back. You know what? I'll switch directions. Think about that one. Going to a different direction with this.
sure.
Thinking back on your career, I always like to ask the question, is there something, you talked about how you kind of got into it, but how did you get into kind of doing it on the side as a hobby and you kind of going in and out of it to actually performing more regularly?
Oh, great question. I met you.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I
no.
have that I
So
have that effect on people.
yeah, so I did shows for like family friends, people in
Mhm.
the know. I do some volunteer shows here and there.
Okay.
And then we became friends, and you started hiring me for gigs. And I'm like, well, at this point, I'm just doing this on weekends. And I put up a website for
Mm.
myself. And next thing I know, I'm getting emails from people I've never met before.
Mm.
And they're hiring me. And then, working with other magicians and becoming friendly with other magicians, I'll get calls. And then yeah, most of my shows I get from word of mouth.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I do a lot of library shows for families.
Mm.
So I generally get a pretty booked calendar out of people who've seen me at the library and then want me for a birthday show. And I'm bringing my mentalism show to a library pretty soon, so I hope that the same effect will occur there.
That's amazing. I mean, so I'm going to ask you twofold question here. First of all, I'd love to hear about your interaction, the different people that are listening on here, whether it's clients or whether it's other performers that might be hearing this. How has your experience been working with magical memories?
No, I'm kidding.
It's all right. Honesty, I love it.
No, you guys run a really tight professional ship. I think when I first started working with you, it was like you and two people in an office.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had you guys on speed dial, and like I'd get phone calls, and seeing your growth as a company has been really fun to watch. And all the paperwork comes on time, and the paychecks always come on time, and which, let's
Those are
face
important
facts, is
things.
the most important part. And it's a really tight ship. It feel like I know a little bit about your company just from having conversations with you. It
Hmm.
feels like a much bigger. It feels like a huge organization. Like
Hmm.
I'm everything's taken care of, and
Hmm.
I find you guys very helpful. I've sent
Wonderful.
numerous people your way who've needed entertainment.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate that and glad you had that experience because that is the most important thing. I always tell people like we present ourselves as the entertainment concierge and even listening to you kind of describe what you do and the way you do and the reason you do and the where you work with it. I think all of that's really important because it really shows people that are listening as well as myself that everybody kind of has their specialty and their niche and not every person is the right fit for everything. So when you call a magician, call whatever company, they might just stick somebody into a position that's not the right fit. And I like to believe that what we do is really position you for the most successful opportunities. You can deliver the best to the best people versus the clown, which is something we do, but the clown could be
Oh,
more appropriate for a
nothing
different.
against clowns,
No, no,
but
no.
like, okay, I just want people to know, like, when they hire me, that
No
that's
red nose. I got it.
yeah.
But actually, that reminds me of the question I had before. Is speaking about clowns and that kind of stuff. Is what's the ideal age for? I mean, what's the ideal? You kind of spoke about it with the mentalism stuff, but ideal age for your kids show as well as your ideal age for your mentalism show.
Gotcha. So my ideal age for my kids show would be ages 6 through
Hmm.
like 10, 11, like that age. Those elementary school grades.
Hmm.
High schoolers, middle schoolers, that's when I'm going to start doing more mentalism.
Hmm.
And usually what I'll do is I'll start a show and I'll talk to the kids and whatnot as I'm setting up.
Hmm.
Because those middle school grades, I mean, just experience as a teacher, there's a big variety in maturity levels with those kids.
Hmm.
Some kids mature much quicker than other kids. So
Hmm.
in setting up and in talking to the kids, I'll get a little bit better of a sense in that gray area between the two age groups.
Hmm.
What really gets hard though is when I have a very mixed audience.
Mm.
So I'll have like I did a party once where it was two brothers who had the same birthday, but they
Hmm.
were like 5 years apart in age.
Hmm.
So I had a whole bunch of teenagers and a whole bunch of like 8 year olds,
Mm.
and they were all expecting a magic show. So
Mm.
threading that needle was fun, but it was a good experience. It was actually a lot scarier than it turned out to be. Like the show went great. It was one of my favorite shows I've did.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I got all the teenagers like in on it. So when I was doing tricks more aimed for the
Uh,
kids,
uh-huh.
they were like playing along, and it worked really well.
That's great. That's awesome. And that's really, I mean, getting them to be on your side versus against you, I think is a really difficult thing as a performer, especially as a magician, because like you said, it's kind of threading the idea of like, oh, some people act like I know better than you and have that kind of mentality. So I think that's really that's good to have that mentality of being on my side. Um, so I mean, you're talking about we talked about the shows a bit and kind of mentalism aspect of it. Do you have a favorite effect? I hate that. I hate asking about favorites because sometimes it's really tough. But do you have something that you really like love to perform?
In my kids show, I love performing linking rings.
Oh.
It's such a classic effect of magic
Hmm.
that I love bringing that to kids and showing them something that they've probably seen in cartoons, but maybe never have really seen in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, that's the point where I get a lot of adults coming up to take a closer look.
Mm-hmm.
Torn and restored newspaper was my father's favorite magic trick that I did. So I always do that in all of my shows, just due to the fact that it's sort of like an important effect to me. And then in mentalism, uh, I do I love tricks, excuse me, I love effects in mentalism where I'm sort of reversing the roles, and instead of reading the spectator's mind, I'm having
Hmm.
them read my mind.
Hmm.
And I do a couple of effects like that in my show, and that's always fun because people get the right answer and they don't know how.
That's cool. That you see, you're putting your thoughts in their mind, which is
Right. Yeah.
that's fun. That's a fun concept. You mentioned that you performed in libraries a lot, and I am kind of
Mhm.
curious. I mean, we oftentimes talk about corporate events, we talk about birthday parties, and a lot of people think magicians related to that kind of thing, but libraries are not necessarily the direct thing people think about. What, what is it just a show, or is there more to it? Do you theme it? Do you have a certain way of doing it? What makes it particularly special for a library?
Great question. So first off, most libraries generally like to have performers in on Dr. Seuss's birthday.
Hmm.
So I do the Dr. Seuss birthday party at my local library
So it's
every
still a
year.
birthday party.
Yep. I think it's called America Reads. I think but so I started doing that, and then I got involved, and then just because my kids use the library so much,
Mm-hmm.
they're a so the thing people don't understand about their public library. Now I've slipped into teacher mode. The local library is a community space. The local
Mm.
library is not it's not Blockbuster for books, right? It is the
That's a good point.
gathering place
Wait a minute.
for
What's
a
what's
community.
Blockbuster?
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
Block?
yeah, yeah. Shut up, you young, and
I mean, I do it, but
I know. But so my local library has an amazing children's program,
Hmm.
and they have musicians and painting classes and STEM classes and all sorts of stuff all the time. So I went and I said, "Hey, do you need a magician?" And so I work with her, and she's recommended me to other local libraries. So I wound up doing a lot of libraries nearby, and now I for their summer program, I even teach a magic class at my local library. So I teach a 3 week magic class where I'm teaching kids um, color vision and
Mm.
crazy cube and those other classic magic tricks.
Mm.
So I love my library. I love libraries in general,
Mm.
and I love good libraries the most.
I love that. That's amazing. You
My
so
local library, I walk in, it doesn't matter what day, it is packed full of teenagers,
Hmm.
old people. It is like sometimes I go to the library and I can't find a parking space in my town.
Do you guys have nowhere else to hang out? Is there no other fun spaces to be at? I'm just kidding.
But there is nothing more fun than the library, Steve. What are you
That
talking
see,
about?
that's the right answer. You got an A+ from your librarian right there. Um, so I'm thinking, um, you're talking. You mentioned this a couple of times now. You mentioned that you now teach magic. I think that's an
Mhm.
interesting, thing to just kind of talk about. Is how does that necessarily work? Obviously you're kind of teaching the secrets to tricks, but is it just as simple as, hey, this is how this card trick is done. Here you go. Now you know. Or is there more to it?
No, there's a lot more to it. So oh man, I can't talk about what I want to talk about without okay, so there's a big di
I don't
it's a
know it
new
that way.
question. I wasn't expecting this one. There's a big difference between teaching magic and revealing secrets, right?
Okay.
So if I'm teaching magic, I'm giving you all the tools that a kid needs or an adult needs in
Hmm.
order to go off and perform a trick successfully.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm revealing a secret, then I'm just telling you how a trick is done with no expectation that you're actually going to perform it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do my magic classes, there's a lot of talking about how the trick works,
Mm-hmm.
but also a lot of scripting, what words they need to say, why they're
Mm-hmm.
saying those words, how the misdirection happens, what's the best way to hold something, and then working with them because even simple magic tricks, even the simplest magic tricks, they're a great entry point for beginning lessons on things like sleight of hand, misdirection,
Mm-hmm.
scripting, body posture, and magic as an art form is in a weird place because if you do it well, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like anything happened.
This is true.
So getting kids to understand, no, holding this little box this way is important. You can't just hold it that way. And then they'll hold it that way, but now it looks weird because they're thinking about holding it that way
Uh,
and teaching them so I have a little bit of a stage background.
mm,
Not a huge stage background, but wasn't like a professional performer or anything. But in high school and college, I did a lot of plays
hmm
in the theater, and I was a theater major for a hot second. Um, but in theater, there's like blocking and controlling your body and how to stay and how to like
hmm
set up the stage and putting all that thought in. And I really want to leave kids who I teach my magic classes to
hmm
with the knowledge that, this is how I perform this trick.
hmm
But man, there sure was a lot more to it than I open the trap door and I look at what's inside. You know?
Trap door. What?
Yeah, no trap doors. And I want them to understand that being a magician is a lot more practice than just how does it work.
hmm hmm
So usually when I'm teaching magic classes, and sometimes I've done this at birthday parties too,
hmm
where I'll teach a magic class and I'll bring one simple trick
hmm
and all the kids will go home with the trick and
hmm
we'll have had like a class in how that trick works. They'll see the trick perform and then they'll break off into teams of two to practice with each other
hmm
and then come back to practice with me a little bit.
That's amazing. I love that. And I mean, besides just learning the trick, is there additional skills that you think magic can teach or can bring outside of just learning how to do a magic trick when you teach a class?
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm a theater geek, right? All of those skills that you get from improv, all of those skills that
Huh.
you get from getting in front of a stage and just being willing to talk,
Mm,
right? Listening to other people, understanding that the beats of a story,
mm,
listening to people's um, emotions no, that sounds too woo-woo for me. Um, pick, picking up on like the energy of a crowd, right?
Uh-huh,
Being
uh-huh.
able to pick up on those social cues in
Hmm.
order to read a room,
Hmm.
and just being able to tell a story in a way that doesn't bore people.
That's good. I mean, so yeah, I love that. It's more than just the trick. You're actually teaching them, how to work in front of a group,
Oh
which
yeah,
I
I
think is
mean,
key.
a magic class is really a magic class with me. I'm not just teaching, again, like you said, I'm not just teaching them the trick, right?
Hmm.
It's more than that. It's about the acting and why
Hmm.
you're saying these words
Hmm.
and why in delivering it in a natural way.
Hmm.
So, and again, I'm not going in depth on any of these topics, but I want
Sure.
I'm only with the kids for 45 minutes when I teach a magic class, but
Hmm.
I want them to like start getting that idea.
Hmm.
And it's like the old saying, a magician, there are no such things as magicians.
Hmm.
Magicians are just actors playing the part of somebody who knows magic.
Ooh, I like that. I love that. I don't know
Yeah.
who said it, but I love that.
I do. It was Robert
Ah.
Houdin.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so cool. And it's true. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Now, you speak about teaching a lot. I am very curious.
Yeah.
Since performing magic more often, has your teaching style evolved at all?
That's my teaching style.
It's the opposite of normally what you probably would have asked. You go ahead.
Yeah. That is. Honestly, I'm gonna say no.
Okay. I'm curious.
For two reasons. One, um, you know, public school curriculums are very
Uh,
tightly defined.
gotcha.
And that's number one. But number two, um, my personality in front of a crowd
Uh-huh.
was pretty well defined
Mm-hmm.
before I got more into magic because of the teaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's my same character, if you will.
Interesting.
It's my same character in front of a class as it is in
Mm-hmm.
front of a stage.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, you definitely listen. I kind of had a feeling you might say that just because you have been doing magic throughout the whole process. Not like you joined magic, you hadn't done it, and then you started doing it, and then you started teaching.
Yeah,
So the process is a little different. But that
yeah.
said,
It's
I mean, again, I'm sorry.
no. It's like I said, I got into magic when my father showed me my first a card trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my father was really big into magic, but he was never like a professional performer.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was the guy who at family barbecues and picnics and whatnot would be like, "Oh, you have a deck of cards," and the next thing you know, there'd be a group of people at his table, and he'd be doing like an impromptu magic show.
Mm.
Um, and he got me into it, and then he brought me down to Tannins when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Bought me a magic kit, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's beautiful. I love that, and absolutely. Do you have a favorite trick that your dad performed?
Yes, I definitely have a favorite trick that my dad performed. He would take a quarter and make the quarter disappear, and then he'd turn his head, and your assigned quarter is now in his ear.
Classic, except it's usually
Yes.
behind your
Nope,
spectator's
like
ear.
he would just like rub the coin on his
Yeah.
arm. It would disappear, and then he'd talk for a second, and he'd just turn his head, and it's right there hanging out in his ear.
That's so cool. I love that.
Would your audience like to participate in a card trick since you have me here?
Of course, I would love a card trick.
Great. Do you have a deck of cards handy in a convenient location?
Of course, I'm a magician. That's what we do, isn't it? Here you go. I got it.
Perfect.
All right.
You got one? All right, let's start with 10 cards. Take 10 cards.
Any 10 cards I'm going for?
Any 10 cards. Doesn't matter. Give it a good shuffle beforehand. That way you know I didn't stack the deck.
I got it. All right. So 10 cards.
All right. And now take a look at your cards. Make sure that they're all different. Mine are
I
not because I opened up a fresh pack.
ha ha ha. Yes, they are.
Great. Now, look at your cards. I don't know, take a good handful. Like take a couple, like take three, four, five cards.
Any ones or just in a row?
Anyone, just take three, four, five cards.
Okay. Should you know how many cards I take or no?
No, just throw them over your head. We're not going to need those.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna throw them because I
I
got
said throw them over your head, Steve. Perfect. Now you're doing it. Okay.
acting, acting.
Don't tell me how many cards are left.
Okay.
Okay, take what's left in your hand and just shuffle them up, mix them up, mix them up, mix them up.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
All right. Got it.
Now, hold them in your hand in dealer position, just like that.
All right. Got it.
You got it. And
Mm-hmm.
now, take a peek at what your bottom card is.
Got it.
Got it? That bottom card is your card. Are you going to remember it?
Now I am.
Okay. Now, I consider myself a very charming performer.
Ah, okay.
So let's spell the word charming. You're just gonna say C, take the top card, put it right on the bottom. C.
Uh-huh.
Then H,
Uh-huh.
A,
Mm-hmm.
R,
Uh-huh.
M,
Uh-huh.
I,
Uh-huh.
N,
Uh-huh.
G.
Okay.
Great. Now you're the big boss of the company, aren't you?
I guess so.
And I am just one of your lowly workers. So we need something to represent the two of us, Steve. So take the top card,
Okay.
okay, and take it and just put it right on the table. That's me out working the field.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, and now take the top card and put it on the bottom.
Okay.
Take the next top card, put it down. You sent out another worker.
Okay.
Take the top card, put it on the bottom of the packet.
Yep, got it.
Take the top card down on the table.
All right.
Top card on the bottom of the packet.
Mm-hmm.
Top card, bottom of the table, and just keep doing that. One down on the table, one down on the bottom of the packet until you're left with one card.
Got it.
And turn it over.
It's
Was
my
that your card?
Yes, it is.
There you go.
If you missed it, you want to try that at home, take it, go back on the video. You could try it, and it will be your card too.
Guaranteed.
I love that. That's amazing. I gotta ask. I mean, when it comes to teaching, do you utilize magic in your teaching at all?
Yeah, so yes, my kids, not necessarily while I'm teaching,
Okay.
but I have been known to end shows with impromptu magic performances, and those might be more common when I'm working on a new piece.
Very good. That's good.
Got a nice built-in test audience.
That's great.
One of my favorite things to do in a classroom though is to do some small little magic trick,
Uh-huh.
like make a coin disappear or something simple, but only for one kid in the class.
So they don't believe
And
him.
then just like walking by. So he's like, well, Miss Pro just made a coin disappear. I'm like, what are you talking about, John? It's like, stop telling tales out of school. It's like, no, we really did.
That's too funny. I love that. Okay. So, I mean, we've been talking for a little while, and I know you got lots of stuff to do, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. But I have a couple questions that I'd like to ask. First of all, thinking back on your career, is there something that you are most proud of?
Oof, something that I am most, you know what? Yeah. Getting back into magic again after having not performed when I was in college.
Hmm.
So, like I said, in high school, I did all my high school's talent shows.
Mhm.
Uh, oh, I did a fire eating act when I was in high school.
No way.
Yeah, I did fire eating for a while. I taught myself to be a fire eater back before the days of the internet,
Oh.
just by watching a videotape of a fire eater over and over again.
Oh no.
No, it was fine. It was
Is that why?
absolutely fine.
Is
I
that
did
why
it.
you don't have a mustache?
Yeah, that's exactly why. It worked as well. It worked as well as you would expect a teenager who did not know how dangerous the thing he was doing worked. It came out fine. I'm still here, but if I knew then what I know now about it, I would not have done it.
Oh boy. I can
That was a
imagine.
fun show because my parents didn't know I was doing a fire eating act in
Oh
that talent show.
no.
Yeah, it was,
That's funny.
yeah.
Is Is there a story that you can think of that really sticks out as like you talked about that being a proud moment, but it's something that's really like resonated with you when you performed, maybe like a group you performed for, or maybe a specific reaction that you got
Oh
to
yeah,
something?
so I think I mentioned it earlier that the show where I had the very large gap in ages between kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's a show that I think of often actually, because just learning what tricks play with what age groups is
Mm-hmm.
a big skill in having to mash essentially two different magic shows up into
Mm-hmm.
one show. I like the drop of a hat when I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my prouder moments.
That's amazing. I love that. Um, now, I guess thinking forward, is there anything that you're looking forward? And I think I know the answer to this, but there's something that you're looking forward to this coming year.
Summer vacation.
It's fair.
Um, no, I actually I say that half kidding because summer vacation used to be a very busy time for me with lots of different
Hmm.
shows, but I recently hooked up with a summer camp up near me.
Hmm.
So all summer I am just their camp magician, and I just teach a magic class pretty much all summer long there, and it's great. I sit in the woods, I teach magic classes all day long.
So
Um,
you are a real wizard.
yeah. I have I grow out the Gandalf beard. Have the pointy hat.
That's important. Those are the key things
Yeah,
to being
exactly.
if you're in the woods doing a magic sh or be teaching magic, you gotta have those things.
Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
That's funny. I mean, I'm curious, what's the difference between teaching a longer, besides the fact that you teach more effects, obviously, but what's the difference between teaching magic for like a summer camp where you're there all summer versus teaching like a workshop type of experience where it's one thing,
Great.
um, or even a week long?
Yeah. So all of the classes I do at the summer camp are week long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're week long classes, and I do 7 or 8 weeks of classes just so that they can get more students into my class.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, and what's great about that is the fact that I can build with the effects.
mm-hmm,
Um, and I have what's been a lot of fun though is now that it's my fourth or fifth year doing it,
mm-hmm.
seeing the same campers year after year, and they come running up to me like Magic Andrew, like hey. Um,
Yeah, like it's the astonishing Andrew to you, sir.
no, it's funny. It's at the summer camp, like all the instructors, it's like there's Karate Sam, there's Magic
Uh,
Andrew. There,
you have no other name. It's not a last name. It's not Mister.
no,
It's Magic Andrew. I like it.
right.
That's awesome.
And so seeing those kids build has been a lot of fun. But doing the week long, so when I do magic classes at the library, it's usually once a week for like 3 or 4 weeks. But doing them at summer camp is great because it's 5 days in a row. So
Mm-hmm.
I can like really see and work with the kids uh, quickly. And the sad thing is that there's always some kids who like just want to know how the trick is done.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are other kids who are like, "Oh, I worked on this and I worked on that and I tried this
That's
with
so
my
great.
parents." Yeah, so that's always fun.
That's amazing. I love that. And then I mean, obviously we do events, and this is really kind of geared for people who might be booking a magician or specifically yourself. Um, do you have any advice you might have for a client who's interested in booking let's say both. Let's say a mentalism show or a kids show. Is there something that you've learned over the years that they could benefit from?
Talk with your performer beforehand,
Okay.
or in your case, trust the concierge to know the person, right? Because
Mm,
not all performers are equal.
mm,
Whether it's a magician or a mentalist, talk with them, see what they offer, get a sense of their personality.
hmm.
Remember, you're not. I like to say nobody is there to see magic tricks.
Mm,
They're there to see a magician, right?
mm, mm,
So
mm,
the personality of the performer has to be something that you're comfortable with.
mm,
If they have the most amazing magic in the world and it's not somebody that you would want to hang out and have a cup of coffee with, then it's probably not the right person for you.
Hmm.
So get a sense of the person, understand that not every magician is equal. You get what you pay for.
That's fair. That is a fair statement. And so I mean, we didn't really touch on this, but I'd love to just briefly kind of touch on what walk around magic mentalism is, and where it kind of fits into, the dynamic of the entertainment world or the events world, I should say. How does that play versus a show, and why would you choose one over the other?
That's wonderful. Good question. It's like you've been doing this for a while. Um, so a traditional magic show
Hmm.
is there's one person, the magician, who's performing, and everybody in the room has their attention on them.
Mm.
Um, and that is great if it's a more formal environment, if
Hmm.
there's like a sit down dinner, or you just want everybody gathered in one place. I know I did one gentleman's 70th birthday party.
Hmm.
He's just like, I just want a magician. So
Hmm.
I did his party, and he just like invited a whole bunch of friends. There was a whole bunch of old people just sitting around, and they had a great time
Hmm.
um, in their living room. Whereas a walk around is going to be more, you might also hear called strolling magic.
Hmm.
That's more for like cocktail hours. I do a lot of wedding cocktail hours, bar
Hmm.
mitzvahs, buffets,
Hmm.
even a lot of sit down dinners, um, where you want to provide entertainment for your guests,
Hmm.
but not necessarily have to dedicate a, a not necessarily want to dedicate a block of time
Hmm.
for magic, right?
Hmm.
So if you don't want to have a specifically dedicated block of time for magic, then I would come. I'd be dressed just like one of your guests. I'd be making small talk with people, and it would just like, oh yeah, I'm actually the mentalist that's been hired here
Hmm.
by the couple to entertain you guys. You have a couple of minutes to see a trick, and people usually say yes. Every once in a while, people say no, and that's fine. And I move to the next table.
Hmm.
Um, and generally, with that, it would be smaller magic tricks. It would be close-up magic. It'd be stuff that fits in my jacket pockets,
Hmm.
as opposed to stuff on a stage. And I'd sit with the table. I'd perform 3 or 4 tricks with them, laugh, have a good time, get to know some people's names, then move to the next table and repeat. And generally, you'll find one table that really likes magic, and they keep calling you over.
That's great. And I gotta say, you read my mind because I was gonna ask, what's the difference in what you actually do in a show versus a walk around? So that you hit it nail on the head with that. So I love that. Um, you know what? This has really been fantastic. I really appreciate it. And I really thank you for sharing some magic with us and some of your insights into it. I always like to say, is there anything functionality wise that you would, if you came to an event and let's go with performing, you were performing a show at an event that you really think everybody should be prepared ahead of time, whether it's, everybody needs to be, facing backwards with their hands behind their head. I don't know, it's weird, but
It,
you know what I'm
if
saying.
it's a show at yeah, I do. If it's a show at a restaurant,
Hmm.
make sure that you've talked with the restaurant staff ahead of time
Okay.
and set up a place where I can have my show.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm in a room that has 12 tables on it and no elbow room, and the waiters are barely getting by,
Hmm.
and you're expecting me to perform a full stage show,
Hmm.
and I don't have room for a full stage show, I've had that happen more than once.
Hmm. Hmm.
So just talk with the wait staff, talk with them, let them know a magician is coming, and find room that is appropriate.
Mm, okay, that's a good one. And is there a specific kind of layout that works really well in that situation? I mean, besides obviously having a little bit of elbow room, but do
Well,
you do you like people around the tables? Do you prefer that you're
yeah, so that depends on the performer, right? So
okay?
um I know some performers that need to have their backs to the audience. Turn that around. That that can't have the
That's
audience at their back.
amazing. Yeah, look, I made it disappear. Like I can't see. Just trust me.
Just trust me, that's going to be my new magic words.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I know some performers that can't have an audience behind them
Yeah.
because they have stuff hidden behind tables or whatnot. I know some performers who just don't like being surrounded. Uh, for me, a good layout, if I'm doing my kids show, is to have nothing behind me because, I've done some parties where, it's like, oh, we're having it in the playroom and you can set up right over here. And then like the kids' Lego and video game walls and all their toys are right behind me. And it's like, I am not the most interesting thing in this room.
It's funny you say that because I think some people expect, you're a magician, you're doing magic. You should keep all their attention. So that you're saying that unfortunately at the end of the day, other things do
Kids are
distract.
kids. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, I think that's a really good one. Talking about other distractions. It's a reality that things do distract them, no matter how entertaining you can be.
So I was doing one show one time. One last story before I go. I was doing one show one time, and I'm performing for the kids. It's like an 8 or 9 year old's birthday, and in the middle of the show, these 3 huge huskies
Oh no, yeah.
come pouring out of the bedroom and just start jumping all over the stage. The mom is like, "Oh no, the dog's got loose!" And I just look at the audience, and I point down at the dogs, and I go, "Ta-da!"
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Yeah, got to roll with the punches, and that goes back to your acting. Being able to deal with stuff. And
Quick on your
manage.
feet.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. This has been amazing. I really do thank you for jumping on here and chatting with me. Before we go, and I swear this is the last thing I'm going to ask. Is there
I've heard that before, Steve.
Yeah, I know. Is there something a fun fact about yourself that people generally don't know?
That I'm a magician.
See, I knew that though. I knew that one. That doesn't count.
A fun fact. I've been skydiving and scuba diving and glacier climbing, and I used to be quite a little bit of a daredevil when I was younger.
The theater magician tech guy, science dude.
I had a school teacher one time said, Andrew, if you don't cut this out, you're going to wind up as a jack of all trades. And I did not know that was a bad thing. I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to be.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Andrew, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed our conversation, make sure you share with a friend. Make sure you tag somebody that needs a magician. And if you guys are interested in having Andrew at your next event, please reach out to us. We are Magical Memories Entertainment. This was Magical Memories Unlocked, your guide to event success. This is our deep dive into our entertainers, and we're doing this every Monday. So come join us again, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Magical Memories Unlocked. This guide to event success is so helpful, some are shocked. Planning something big, we're here for you, with ideas and tips to make your vision come true. Magical Memories Entertainment is the team to make all